Hey, hi friends, welcome back to the BSc IT MSc IT question and answer series. Myself Guru. Today we are going to see the topic from a BSc IT question paper, that is what is a property, and explain how read only and write only property is achieved. So this was the same question was asked in March 2009 for 4 marks. So 4 marks is not a less marks, 4 marks is very important marks. Okay, so every marks is a important, you know in terms of exam point of view. So this question carries 4 marks. So if you have any doubts, you can mail me, on this email id, that is gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. For more .NET videos, for more .NET projects, you can visit our website, that is www.questpond.com. So let's begin our session now. So now let's understand what is a property. Before we get started with anything, let's understand about property. So let me just open up my notepad. So what is a property basically? So as a simple definition, properties are members of the class. They help us to read and write the values, as well as by using the property you can compute, you can manipulate the values inside the class. So by using the properties, you know you can read the value by using the object of the class. You can write the value by using the object of the class, because properties are exposed publicly. Yes, if you want to manipulate the values inside the class, you have to use properties. If you want to manipulate the values from outside of the class, then you need to use properties. Properties is everything, for getting and setting the values. Okay, so now let me just show you the syntax of a property as a simple syntax. So let's suppose this is a class cls employee. Now this is a property. Remember, properties are exposed publicly, so you need to define a public accessor, I mean to say public modifier, access modifier. So public string employee name. Now inside this property, we can use two methods. Okay, so first is get, let's say set. See, without these methods, we cannot read and write the values. So get and set methods are compulsory part of a property, you know so these are the two methods we have to use in a property. So get method helps us you know if you want to read the value, we need to use get method. If you want to just write the value, then set property is must. If you want both, a property has to be read and write, then the both methods should be used. So this is a normal syntax of a property. As you can see that class employee has got a property employee name, and that property employee name having the two methods, that is get and set. Yes, a property can be exist with only one set or one get. If I remove this also, it can work, but there needs to be something one. Either a set has to be present, or either get has to be present there inside the property. Then only you can use that property for reading and writing the values. As I told you, get method is been used to is been helps to read the values, and set method helps us to write the value. So this is a basic syntax of a property having get and set methods. Now the properties which doesn't implement a get method and implements only set methods, that property, that type of property is known as write only property. Yes, this type of properties which is having only set method, where we can only write something, where we cannot read anything, that type of property is known as write only property. And the property which is having only get method, not a set method, then vice versa, that type of property is known as read only property. So this way we can achieve read only property as well as write only property, you know so how we can achieve read only and write only property? This is the answer. The property which is having a get method, okay, only get method inside, I mean to say the property which is having only a get method, that type of property is known as read only property. And the property which is having only set method, that type of property is known as write only property. The property which is having both and get and set methods is known as read and write both, where we can read and write the values. So this is all about the property. Now let's see the actual demonstration using the property. So let me, for that, to demonstrate the actual use of the property. Now to show you the actual demonstration, let me just open up my Visual Studio 2010. I'm going to demonstrate this example in my console application by using my language as C#, and the .NET framework is 4.0. So as you can see that to create the console application, I will say file, new, project. As you can see that my language type is Visual C#, okay, and my .NET framework is 4.0. I will say OK. Now the Visual Studio 2010 is creating the console application environment successfully. So the project has been created successfully with some default libraries and with a namespace, and inside that we have a class main program. Now let me just create a class. Now let me just create a private variable. Now I am going to create a property. With a return type string. Okay, so my property is of string data type. So if I build this, I just wanted to show you the error. See, the property must have at least one accessors, means it needs to have either the get method or either a set method. The property cannot be empty. So set, let's create a set, and let's create a get. Now this private variable I am going to use inside my set method, to set the value. So this is a string, and we have to use a compulsory variable called value. You know, value is our local variable. You know, a string value is our local variable, okay, which we have to use compulsory for setting up the values. For writing the values, we have to use the local variable called value. Yes, it is compulsory, and you have to assign it to, yes, some of the variables. So for that variable I have created this private variable outside the property, you know, because when we set the value from outside of the class by using the object, you know, then this value holds that value, okay, this local value, this local variable holds that value, but we need to have that value somewhere with our own variable. So that's why I have created this private string variable, you know, because my property is of string type, so I have created the string variable. If it was an integer type, then I have created the integer one, you know. So now let me just return that value. So I am done, you know. As you can see that I have created the property successfully. See, this local variable you need to use compulsory in your set body, because this value, this local variable holds the value, you know, actual value which has been written from outside of the class, you know, by using the object. So this value is compulsory for setting up the value, and this is our own private variable, you know. So by using this private variable we can manipulate the things, you know, we can compute the values, you know. So that's why I have created the local, I mean to say private variable string. So that variable I have used inside our property. Get is a simple one, just you need to return the same data type, whatever the return type is having. Let's suppose this is the string data type, so we need to return in a string format, so that's why I return the string. Means here I am setting the value and here I am returning the value. So this is where I am writing the value and this is where I am reading the value, you know. Now let me create with the integer data type, you know, with the same one. So to create the integer data type, you know, integer data type property, first let me create a private variable. So I will say public. See, one more thing, you know, only the properties needs to be exposed publicly, you know, and all other, you know, all other the variables whatever you create needs to be declared privately, you know. So this is not a property, you know, these are my the variables which I am using inside the class, so this has to be private, you know. So whatever things I am doing inside the class, that has to be privately, you know. And yes, only the methods and properties can be exposed publicly, rest others can be private, you know. So that's why I have declared this as private, because I don't want anybody to manipulate, you know, anybody to tamper my private variable data, you know, from outside of the class. So that's why I have declared this as private. So public int employee code. Now again, see, I am done. Okay, so now let me create one more private variable. company name, let's say I give a company name as Quest IT Private Limited, and I'm going to create a read only property now. Just see. See, this is how I have created the read only property by using my get accessors. By using the get method, I have just created my read only property, that is company name. Let me just build this. So build is succeeded. Now let me just create write only property, where I can write the values, where I can only write the values. So I will say private int, let's say company code, I will put this as 0. So to write the values, I'm going to use the set body. So I am done. As you can see that I have created the property, you know which is having the set and get of string type, string data type, and I have created another property of integer data type with the different name employee code, and here I have created another property which is called as read only property. So by using the get methods, I have achieved my read only property, that is company name, and by using the set method, set accessor, I have achieved my write only property, that is company code. Now let me just display the value. Console.write line. Company name, then company code, now I am going to display the employee details also. Employee name, So I'm done, I just displayed all the values. Oh, I just forgot, so yes, see, as you can see that, this property of the indexer cannot be used in the context because it lacks the get accessors, so it is telling me that, this property is of only writing the values. It's not it cannot be used as reading the values, so I need to use this private variable here. So yes, now let's set some values. So by creating the object cls employee obj equal to new cls employee obj, let's set some employee name. Let's try to set a company name. Definitely it will throw an error. See, as you can see that the property is read only. Yes, so we cannot write any values to the company name. The property is of read only. See, so we have to remove this. Now finally let's call our display all, and finally let me just show you the output. See, this is the output. The company name is Quest IT Private Limited, comma, company code is 123. The employee name is Guru and the employee code is 9. So as you can see that, by using the property, we have achieved, the read only property, the write only property, the both, you know. So the properties are very useful in a class, it helps us to read and write the value. It helps us to manipulate the values inside the class. By using the object we can write the values, we can read the values, we can display the values, so the properties are important part of a class, where so by using the properties, we can manipulate the things, we can manipulate the values. Without the properties the class is nothing, because the properties is being exposed publicly. So by using the get and set methods we can write the values, we can read the values, we can protect our values by using the private variables like I have used, here. So by using the private variables you can achieve read and write the values, you can manipulate the things inside and outside the class, so this is the benefit of using the property, the properties are very important in a class. So this is how we can achieve the read only property and write only property. So if you have any doubts or any queries, kindly mail me on this email IDs, that is gurumatrix2004@gmail.com. if you want to know more about the .NET, C Sharp, WCF, WPF, or .NET projects, kindly visit this site, that is www.questpond.com. Thank you friends, thanks a lot.